When I first applied to my school, I saw in the brochure some pictures of fencers, and I said, you know what, I want to do that. My name is Shani Tucker. I'm a student and a fencer. I've been fencing this is my third year. They only started offering fencing in high school, and so I get to high school and I start doing it, and I end up really liking it and being somewhat good at it, so I ended up pursuing it.
It's all started on my left. Ready? Fence.
My coach at the time, Nellie Ivanek, she saw that I wanted to pursue it past, just my high school, and and I was working really hard and something I was interested in, and she said, you should really, get into a club, and you need to get into a club. And so I finally got into a club at the beginning of this year in January, and she said there's only one club you can go to. You have to go to the Fencing Institute of Texas with Vladimir Yefimov. And so I ended up here, and I'm loving it. The community here has become really like family to me. Everyone here is so nice. They all kind of took me in, and everyone here is just, either like a mentor or like a little sibling. And then, of course, I don't think there's even a way I can describe Vladimir, because he's not quite like a father, because he's almost much more than that. Next to my grandmother, probably the person I respect most. I do try to get into practice at least 5 days a week. It's anywhere between 2.5 to 3 hours each of the days that I come in. We normally line up and then we play soccer, although that's become a little bit rare these days because we're trying to up our training. Then we kind of run around the room and do exercises as we're going down the strip again, like we make a box around the room. And as we go down, we do something different. And so that's the warm-up. And then we do conditioning for an hour, and every week it's kind of focusing on something different. Like we'll focus on either lunge and counterattack, or we'll focus on advanced lunges or jump lunges. And so depending on what we're working on that week, Vladimir will tailor the conditioning to reflect that. Oh, and then of course lots of jump roping too is involved. Throughout the entire practice, there's lots of jump roping. After we condition for an hour, we have an hour of actual fencing, and that'll be good. And then right after that, for me at least, I start a little two-person switch lesson with Vladimir and a man in my club named Shaylin. We go back and forth, where one will run on the treadmill while the other does a lesson with Vladimir for rotations of about 1 minute or 2 minutes. Starting this fall, I've started competing much more locally and then also nationally with things like ROCs, and I'm going to some NACs, which are North American Cups, and those kinds of national tournaments. I guess within the year I would like to have earned a C rating, start pulling some good victories. I think my main immediate goal right now in my tournaments is to loosen up. When it comes to tournaments, I tend to psych myself out. It's such a mental game. They call it physical chess for a reason. It's all strategy, and it's very, very mental, and your mindset is so easily disturbed while you're fencing. It's definitely been a problem for me in tournaments, especially recently, that I focus too hard on the results, or just saying like, oh my gosh, I have to beat this person, or something like that, and so I get too involved and mentally, and I forget to relax. I've gotten much better with my counterattacking issue recently, which makes me feel much better. At Summer Nationals, it was a big problem for me because I would do nothing but counterattack, which it works on some people, but once you hit a certain level of fencer, they start really taking advantage of it. And so I've gotten much, much better about it, and I've been able to parry, and I've gone on the attack more recently, which is great because I'm very much a defensive fencer. And so I started going on the attack more with these disengages that I've learned from my coach that are definitely working successfully for me, which I'm very happy about. Yeah. Fencing has become a lifelong love for me. I mean, I saw at Summer Nationals this year, they have a veterans division because they go veterans as by decade of age, and so there's a veterans 70+ section. So I saw these women old enough to be my grandmothers walking around their lamaze, and I'm like, oh, there's me in 60 years. It's so consumed me entirely that it's hard to pinpoint what I love the most about it. I love having something that I can dedicate myself to 110%. It's having that, working hard for something and then seeing it pay off when I fence and get a move right that I've been working on for a long time. I love that. Or I love pulling one over because, fencing is all about tricking your opponent mostly and controlling your opponent. And so whenever I successfully do that, that's always the little feeling of self-satisfaction that I enjoy. It's definitely contributed to who I am, and this is the one thing that I put in more than I possibly can. It's the thing I work the hardest on in my life, and it's the thing I'm the most passionate about, and it's something that I love, and so I don't mind working that hard. I almost can't imagine my life before it, that it just is so intrinsically a part of me.